Welcome back to the Nonprofits. Today we're talking about atheists and the common good. This comes to us from David Speed. And basically, what this is about is our author and another scholar wanted to really look into the claim of, oh, religious people are so much better. Look at how much religious people volunteer, blah, 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 compared to non religious people. Well, we have some interesting data, folks, and I'm not going to give it all away because I want to get the panel in on this. But funny enough, apparently, when you average it out, it appears that the average religious person does as much, if not less, volunteer work than the non-religious. I know we're all shocked here, but Helen, what did you think about this study?
That I'm really excited about it. And I'm very happy because I kind of already knew this.
Yeah.
Because I'm just, just from my own volunteer work, with recovering from religion, for example, I'm surrounded by a group of very dedicated volunteers. And we've been at it, a lot of them, like myself, have been at it for years because we recognize that there are people in the world that need help. And especially if you're coming from the secularist humanist perspective, you realize that the only thing we have to rely on is each other. And also, we only get one life. And when you come from that perspective that there's no reward afterwards, no one's paying attention to me, if I'm doing good or bad things. But if you come from you want to do the least harm as possible, it's a really good idea to become altruistic and extend that out to your fellow people. So I am not surprised that atheists, because of that perspective, want to make more of an impact on the world and realize that, why they're here, they got to do some stuff to make the world a better place. So I am not surprised at all. And this is a wonderful, wonderful article to read. And I had a little bit of like, ha screw you religious people, we win. Anyway, Raphael, I'm sorry. I got giddy. Go ahead, please.
I guess my first thought, besides being happy of the results, is I was surprised that no one had done something like this before, as far as the study goes.
I know.
It seems obvious to us, who are always told how great religious people are, just de facto versus atheists. But it's I want to see it done in other countries, especially the United States, because all this data was collected from Canadian data.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that fake country up there.
We love our Canadian friends. I'm just kidding.
Just kidding. We don't love our Canadian friends.
So in other countries, I would love to see some breakdowns on racial lines to see what that looks like, as well as far as volunteering, as well as just sometimes it's helpful to have the people giving their the self-report data in this case, like how much does religion actually matter to you? Because I think that's an important factor of how much they associate with their religion. Because like the study pointed out, they broke it down into people who are inclined to volunteer, and they kind of measure that by how much they prayed, and then versus their opportunity to do it, and they measure that by how often they went to church. But there's another factor of like how much does I feel like there's a third prong here that would help like close a circle a little bit on some of this data of how much do they actually care, because there's certain people that go to church who don't care, but they might end up in some kind of volunteer organization just because they're there. I think that was one of the things this study really looked at, was the opportunity. They end up volunteering more than atheists, but they only volunteer more with inside their church community. So
that's interesting.
It's a tricky study to do, but I think they did it pretty well. But I want more data out of this.
Sure. Kelly, what do you think on
That
this?
was really important to point out, that a lot of the atheists who were volunteering just in that small area, and they weren't really helping a large group of people or a group of different people. It was all just for their one specific small community. And I don't know, to me, that's really not so much volunteering to make the world a better place, but that's just me. I don't know what to say to that one.
In some
Um,
cases, that's like you almost forced to do it in certain churches.
mhm.
It's like
sure.
if you're showing up, you're volunteering at X, Y, and Z, and good luck with that. You know, it's like you can't say no. So even if you don't want to do it, you're doing it.
You're voluntold.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm really not surprised at this at all. I mean, the volunteers here at the ACA are amazing. What a great group of people that are to work with. They're all really dedicated. They're hardworking people, and they're all volunteers. And look at the awesome stuff that they do here. I've been a part of voluntary organizations for a long time. I've started a couple in the community. Um, and the people that come to the meetings and really help have always, in my experience anyway, have always been, for the most part, pretty non-religious. They weren't atheists, but they're the type of people that if you ask them if they believe in God, they would tell you yes, but they never go to church on Sunday, or maybe they go on Christmas or Easter.
Mhm.
You know the type. You probably got some of them in your family. So that every organization I ever put together, those were the people that really sat on our volunteer boards, that got the work done, that of that group. So yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all. SR, you want to add more to it?
Yeah, I think the point that Rafaela just mentioned was one of the things that was so deeply awesome about this study, because we're good skeptics here, right? We really shouldn't be believing stuff without good evidence. I'll go ahead and let y'all know, though. I will show you my flaws. I have believed this for years. I have just totally believed the outcome of this study for years. And one of the biggest reasons was due to the classification in the United States of religious organizations. They are
Mhm.
by default a charity. And so if a religious organization is a charity and you're saying to me, well, religious people give more money to charities than non-religious people. Well, what freaking charities? Because if it's just your church, what does that do? How is that beneficial? How is that a good thing? How are you trying to say, oh, wow, now I'm helping out in the world? You gave $10 to your local animal shelter. I gave $100 to my church so that we could put on a Jesus play. I don't know. That's what I'm saying, right? Like it just doesn't. So yeah, I was really, really glad that they did that breakdown of it. I guess just, can we get more of this, right? Like, like you were saying, Raphael, like it seems like this should be something that we should do kind of across the board. But again, this is just another example of religion co-opting all the good things about what it means to be a person and just saying, oh no, we're the only ones, oh, that charity only comes from my God. It can't just be something that you in yourself like enjoy or something. What else you got on this, Raphael?
Sorry, mute button, tricky. No, I totally agree. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some form of our charities better than secular charities. I'm going to volunteer or give my money to those types. I'll also point out, just like if you're religious to some in some forms, not in all cases, clearly, you're at church like 3 or 4 times a week. You're at the youth stuff. Then on top of that, you've taken care of your family. You've got a job. You're trying to do whatever. You're just going to default to wherever you're either not going to do any charity, which, this study showed some people who don't go to church as much don't do a lot of charity, or you're just going to default to that social structure in that church. because you're out of bandwidth to do that. And it's kind of like when people say they have nothing to lose from like believing. It's like you have your whole life to lose in this case. You're like volunteering. You're at church all the time. You're volunteering, doing stuff that really doesn't benefit the community. Personally for me, I try to volunteer in things that actually like benefit people that may not be like me, or at least it's community based in some type. So I don't know. To me, it was like, I think you, SR, and Helen said how, this is what we've always expected. This is what I've always expected. But it was also sad to me that a lot of the volunteerism that these religious people are doing just like evaporates once you you delete all the volunteering they do for their church, and they're doing nothing. They could be doing so much more than whatever they're, bringing cookies to, the Sunday school or whatever every week. So for me, it was reassuring that, hey, now we have some data points on this, but also like, that's kind of depressing. Kelly, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'm often been asked by atheist or theists, because I'm an atheist, why I volunteer to do things. That why is it important to me to make the world a better place? And I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody here, but when I answer that question, and I think a lot of atheists volunteer for the same reason, is that we only have this one life. We got to make it count. We only have one chance. Why wouldn't we want to make a better place? Why wouldn't we want to make somebody's suffering a little more alleviated? Why wouldn't you want to change the system so it works more fairly for everyone? Why wouldn't you want to stand up for marginalized communities and fight for their rights? Why wouldn't you want to stand up in front of people and get them organized and talk them into joining you? I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want to do anything to make the world a better place. And I'm honestly, I wish I had the energy I had, I don't know, like 390 years ago when I was young, so that I could do it all over again, because I had so much fun doing it. And I don't have high morals. I don't have high motives. I'm a selfish altruist. I look at the world and I think, if I make that thing better for the world, I'm making that better for me too. So I think everybody just needs to go out with that kind of mindset and go out and be selfish. Go out and change the world and be a little selfish. That's all I think people should do. Helen, you want to add to that?
Yeah. Like, I wasn't surprised by this at all. Because I've been volunteering with the ACA and volunteer for RFR. You just get it. You meet people that want to help, and I just loved it how, like, the religious community likes to, snub their noses up at us and be like, well, because they have no morals, they don't care about other people. I'm like, yeah, but you volunteer because you're worried that your sky god is going to be mad at you and you're not going to get brownie points, so you can make it into, like, this heaven, that doesn't exist. But okay, that's fine. We do it because we recognize the benefits of helping your fellow human beings, because, as you said, Kelly, it comes back to us. And I want to live in a nice world where everybody's kind to each other and helps each other out. I want to live there. That's a good place to live, because I like pleasure and I like to feel good, and helping people helps them feel good. And then I feel good and everybody's happy. That's nice. And when you come from that, reward punishment mentality, if you're in church, you're compelled to do it. It's not coming from a place of self-service. It comes from a place like, I'm going to be guilted into it. I'm going to be shunned. I'm going to be treated that if I don't give this time, that I don't really care about the church and in my church community. You're not tithing the right amount of money, these different things. And also, yes, money is really important to a lot of organizations, but that's easy. Writing a check is the easy thing to do. Putting the time and effort in to do those things, and to push yourself to be like, you're working a 40-hour week and you push yourself to go do something else for somebody else, that takes a little bit more effort for you to go, I'm going to go, pick up trash on the side of the road, or go, do a beach cleanup, or go volunteer, with my local Girl Scout troop, or volunteer with a secularist organization, anything that you care about, you can do something about. But when you're kind of forced into it, the passion isn't there because you're being voluntold to do it, and to be a volunteer, but also be a productive, willing volunteer that actually wants to help, you have to have some kind of passion and want to do it. And I think that's why atheists do it, because we have a passion and a want to make the world a better place. Any other notes, SR, on that thought?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick one. It definitely talked about opportunities being an important aspect of how much people volunteered. And so in part that could just be something to do with the failings on the secular organization side of not getting out those opportunities, right?
Mhm.
And that's not to say that we don't. Obviously, there's lots and lots of places. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but the ACA has a website. There's lots of places you can find out how to volunteer. But like maybe we just really need more of a push to let people know, hey, there are places that you can come and give your time to without having to sit through a whole Catholic mass or sermon, right? What do you think on that, Kelly?
Oh, you're gonna call on me again, darn.
Sure.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right, definitely. And there's tons of places out there to volunteer at, and it takes getting up and off your butt and go look for them. Honestly, there are out there. There's every. I'm dating myself, but every local newspaper, every local internet group, on forums on the internet, all the local forums will have places that are meet, or will have groups that are meeting, groups that are trying to do something in the community. One of the things I got involved with several years ago is my little town has a festival that they put on every year. I'm not doing it anymore. I kind of got a little bit busier with everything else. But when they first started doing the festival, I got involved with it, and I started helping organize the art and craft show for it. And it was just something fun to do. I got to meet a whole bunch of people. I had just moved to town, and it got me to know everybody and become a part of my community. And it was great. It was a really great experience. And there's always things like this to do. You just have to go look for them. That's it. You have to be willing to look for them and go look for them and
Yeah.
find something that you're interested in, because there's a lot of things out there to be interested in.
Yeah, and I think that's an awesome point to end on. There is a heck of a lot of great places to volunteer if you want to with secular organizations. So thanks so much for watching and listening, folks. And if you want to hear more from the nonprofits, click here.